Is it necessarily a bad thing to quit, do you think?
We have to know when to hold on and when to let go. I've invested all of this time and effort into this. Wouldn't that just be a waste? How can I walk away? If you're in a situation where there's more bad than good, there is no opportunity for advancement.
Are you still learning something? Are you moving? I need to get there. I need to make like 100 millions and I need to be successful like tomorrow morning. Our family being proud of us.
Like, we can't just quit now. Maybe you just take a break.
When?
It needs to be your decision.
Right.
That's part of life.
Welcome to Talk Native Episode 4. My name is Vic from the Standard KND.
And my name is Christine from RELO, which is the Regional English Language Office at the U.S. Embassy.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Vic.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How
All
about
right.
you?
I'm great.
Good.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are you a quitter?
No.
No?
No, I would say in general, no.
Okay. Because like the quitter, the word itself, it kind of has like a very negative connotation to it.
It usually does, yeah. It just means you just give up, right?
Yeah.
I don't usually like quitting or giving up. I think my dad especially instilled in me as a kid that you have to finish things. You have to keep trying.
Never quit.
You stick it out.
Right. Oh, stick. Because actually I have came across this funny looking word. It's stick-to-itiveness. Do I say it right?
Stick-to-itiveness.
Stick-to-itiveness.
That's a lot of syllables, isn't it?
I know, yeah. And it kind of is kind of funny looking too to me because it's like stick to it. It sounds a lot like an idiom or like, yeah, but you just put nest in there, like this is kind of like lazy. Like just put nest, make it a noun.
Exactly. It's like happy and happiness.
Right.
Right? So stick to it is the
I mean, if it's like stickness or stickiness, I can understand. But to it part, like kind of throws me off a little. Like what?
I would say stick-to-itiveness is not probably technically a word.
Okay.
It's one of those words that we've kind of made up and has evolved
But
over
people
time.
use it all the time. You can hear it all the time too. มันเป็นคำที่ stick to itiveness นะครับจริงๆ can you say it again?
Stick-to-itiveness.
Okay. Stick to itiveness ก็เป็นคำที่แปลว่า let's talk about the meaning. Okay. What it means
So
is
if you stick to something, it means you are committed to seeing it until the end. Like you see a project through until you finish. You complete something, even when it's hard. You stick it out, you stick to it. So stick-to-itiveness is that ability to stick it out and stick to it.
Stick it out is another good expression too. It means you like don't give up.
Right.
Basically.
You suffer through the hard parts until you reach, the finish line or whatever.
It sounds so good. It sounds like a value or the quality that you should have. Like stick to it, just see it through, never quit. But is it necessarily a bad thing to quit, do you think?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think we have to know when to hold on and when to let go. Right? That's part of life. And sometimes you need to stick it out. You need that stick-to-itiveness to get you through hard times because life isn't easy all the time. And sometimes we just have to stick it out. But then there are other times when we have to think about, okay, like this is too much. When we might want to quit, we might need to walk away. We might need to let go. So it's a balancing act. You have to know.
Yeah. So let's talk about like quitting on this episode. วันนี้จะคุยกันถึงเรื่องของการล้มเลิกหรือว่าการที่เราตัดสินใจว่าฉันจะไม่ทำสิ่งนี้อีกต่อไปแล้วฉันจะไม่อยู่กับสิ่งนี้อีกต่อไปแล้วซึ่งการควิตหรือว่าการล้มเลิกมันฟังดูเป็นคุณสมบัติของคนที่จะไม่ประสบความสำเร็จยังไงก็ไม่รู้สึกใช่ไหมครับคำว่าควิตเนี่ยมันดูพ่ายแพ้แต่จริงๆแล้วบางครั้งเราต้องยอมพ่ายแพ้บ้างเหมือนกันเพราะฉะนั้นการยอมหยุด การล้มเลิกไม่ใช่สิ่งที่แย่เสมอไปและหลายๆครั้งการไม่ยอมหยุดไม่ยอมเลิกทั้งที่ควรหยุดและเลิกแล้วกลับทำให้ชีวิตเราเนี่ยท็อกซิกมากๆนะครับ so let's talk about when do we know that we should quit
Yeah, it's tricky, but I think there are some signs. I think for one, when you realize that your values no longer align with your original purpose for something. Let's say, for example, you started a job 20 years ago, and maybe your purpose was to to educate kids. I'm a teacher. This is what I think about, right?
Okay.
And you had certain reasons for doing this. And maybe in those 20 years, the school or the system that you work in has really evolved and changed, and you feel like you can't really do what you set out to do. You realize that, I can't accomplish the goal that I had in the beginning because of X, Y, and Z reasons. Or maybe the company you work for has changed its values. Maybe they've gone down a path that you don't really want to go down.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing that we're talking about here, but just different from what you intend to. Yeah,
you can't carry out your original purpose anymore. So it takes some soul searching, I think, with something like this. It's not something you just decide overnight. It takes time to really think about and observe and reflect on.
So this usually happens when you're maybe at one job or one place too many years for a long period of time, and things have changed. Things have evolved, and maybe you're not a part of the new version of whatever thing it is anymore เพราะฉะนั้นหลายๆครั้งกับการที่เราเริ่มต้นอย่างหนึ่งแล้วเรื่องราวดำเนินต่อไปวงการอาจจะเปลี่ยนเราอาจจะเปลี่ยนวัตถุประสงค์ในชีวิตเราอาจจะเปลี่ยนตำแหน่งแห่งที่ความจำเป็นในชีวิตของเราอาจจะเปลี่ยนแล้วถ้าสมมติเกิดที่สิ่งที่เราทำอยู่มันไม่ซัพพอร์ตแล้วอะมันไม่ตรงกับสิ่งที่เรามองเห็นว่านี่คือคุณค่าในชีวิตที่เราอยากจะดำเนินต่อไปมันก็โอเคนะที่จะ quit so it's okay to quit if things that you're doing the value of it is not aligned with your original goal anymore or maybe you have a whole new purpose in life
exactly maybe you've changed maybe it's not this other thing or entity that's changed but you've changed and you have different goals and purposes at this point in life
so it's okay to change with the world to change with life
absolutely
Good. All right and number two I think when there's a sign of no improvement like there should be a sign of improvement somehow that even though you're not super happy with the things that you're doing or it gets tougher and tougher and you kind of doubt yourself that maybe this is not for me anymore but as long as it gets you somewhere or it kind of improve your skill in some way maybe it's still worth like staying
definitely I mean I think if there's some type of incentive there definitely stick it out it's not every day is easy with jobs or relationships or anything things can get hard and that's okay it's okay for things to be hard but I think if you're in a situation where there's more bad than good and maybe you're in a job for example and you realize there is no opportunity for advancement here at all. I've had many jobs like that in my life. And you realize, whatever I'm doing right now, I'll be doing 20 years from now. And the pay might even be the same, like there's no opportunity for advancement. It's frustrating.
But I got asked this question quite a lot too. Like maybe someone just came up to me and tell me about their situation and it's like should I quit should I just like walk away and get some new job and one of the questions that I advise them or ask them to ask themselves is that are you still learning something that you're enjoying or are you moving somewhere not necessarily forward it could be like sideways but are you moving somewhere with whatever it is that you're doing right now. If you're still learning, if you still have some amount of fun, I think, and if you're still moving somewhere, maybe it's still worth staying. Yeah.
Because sometimes progress is slow, right?
Exactly.
And that's okay. But is there progress happening?
Oh, this happens a lot with like people with like new generation because they're so like anxious and I need to get there. I need to make like 100 millions and I need to be successful like tomorrow morning.
Right.
Which is not always the case, right?
No.
No. เพราะฉะนั้นหลายๆครั้งเนี่ยอย่างที่คริสตินพูดว่าของความสำเร็จความก้าวหน้ามันเป็น slow process มันค่อยๆเกิดขึ้นสำหรับคนที่อาจจะมีความรู้สึกใจร้อนซึ่งเอาจริงๆคุณอาจจะไม่ได้ใจร้อนเพราะตัวคุณเองแต่ว่าคุณไปเห็นอะไรมาเช่นคุณไปเห็นชีวิตของเพื่อนคุณไปเห็นชีวิตของ influencer พูดปลุกใจเราต่างๆมันก็อาจจะทำให้เรารู้สึกว่าI'm moving too slow because people have been listening to everybody who's talking on social media maybe some influencers maybe some big business people and they seem to have like the big success in a very short time and you kind of feel like if they can do it maybe I can do it too but this is not happening for me so they kind of feel like when
right unfortunately we have to work for most of what we get in life I mean there are a lucky few out there and society loves to parade them on TV and social media and make it all look so easy. But in reality, for the vast majority of people in the world, we just have to work at it. It's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah. So the thing is, maybe you need to ask yourself if this is your own decision, this is your own feelings, not somebody else's. Like, okay, you have like too many outside factor to like decide for you that shouldn't be the case for you to decide to quit or not to quit.
Yes,
right?
It needs to be your decision, and it needs to be aligned, with like we said before, with your values and your goals.
Okay. The other factor is that you suffer. So this is pretty easy to spot, like, or pretty easy to tell that you're suffering, maybe physically, mentally, and maybe that's not worth it anymore. Maybe you should quit if you suffer.
Yeah, I think you really have to be observant in your own life and look at how maybe the stress of your job or relationship is affecting you. If you can't sleep. Or, you're not eating well and things like that. You really need to look at those things. It doesn't mean that, if that happens that you quit right away.
Okay.
Maybe you just take a break,
yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I think there needs to, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people get stressed and just overwhelmed and they just quit. And it's like, well, maybe it's not a sign to quit. Maybe it's a sign to just have a glass of water,
I know.
Or take a few days off and reevaluate. Or if it becomes a perpetual problem, then maybe it is time to quit.
Yeah.
If you have a job that is requiring you to work 60, 80 hours a week, that's just too much.
Yeah. I like how you said be observant of your own situation.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, you have to make sure that you have time to yourself too. Not like every second like dedicated to work. That way you can be observant of anything.
Right.
You just bury your face into work and you're not gonna like be aware of the real situation.
Exactly.
Another big thing is guilt. You can't quit because you would feel so much guilt. You feel guilty for a lot of things. You feel guilty for people you work with. You feel guilty for people who put you through school. What else can you be guilty of?
You could feel guilty about maybe letting your family down.
That's a big thing too.
Huge one. Yeah, absolutely. If your parents really wanted you to have this job or really are proud of you that you're on this track and then you feel like, I'm going to let everybody down. They're going to be upset with me. Or if there's a gap in income too between jobs, obviously that's huge as well. So guilt's a big one.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, when sometimes you feel like you shouldn't be quitting because a lot of people want to be where you are and it's not that easy for you to get this job in the first place so and it pays great and is a prestigious job and it's a great job that everybody wants so you feel super guilty that if you quit
right
หลายๆครั้งคือที่เราไม่อยากออกจากงานหรือว่าเลิกทำในสิ่งที่เราทำเป็นเพราะว่ากว่าเราจะมาถึงตรงเนี้ยกว่าเราจะได้สิ่งนี้ซึ่งเป็นสิ่งที่ดีงามเป็นงานที่ดีเป็นงานที่รวยเป็นงานที่ทุกคนอยากได้แต่เราไม่แฮปปี้แล้วนะเรารู้สึกซัฟเฟอร์แต่ถ้าเกิดจะเลิกอ่ะจะรู้สึกแย่มากเลยรู้สึกผิดกับคนที่เขาอยากมาอยู่ตรงนี้รู้สึกผิดกับครอบครัวที่เขาดีใจไปเยอะแล้วอ่ะแล้วเขาก็ภูมิใจกับเรามากเลยที่เราทำงานอยู่ตรงนี้ that's one thing that we have to fight like our family being proud of us for like having such a great job or you know married to such great person and stuff like that it's not just about work it's about life too like maybe we want to quit our marriage maybe we want to quit our friendship and that's even trickier I think right
absolutely it's trickier and I think there's a lot more emotion involved in that which makes it way harder and I think too like when it comes to relationships with family or friends or you know loved ones I think you also get that it's kind of like guilt but you almost feel like you know I've invested all of this time and effort into this wouldn't that just be a waste? How can I walk away? We've, you know, been together for 15 years.
I know.
And like we can't just quit now.
Right.
It's like when you watch a series, right? And maybe you're like 2 seasons in and you really love it, but then by the 3rd season things are like getting weird and you aren't enjoying it anymore, but you're like, but I've been watching this for so long, I can't stop.
True. And it happens to me a lot when I with my reading, like when I found like a book, like people are talking about this book and I should check this out and is the book that I supposed to be reading because it's like it's super trending right now and I read and like 100 pages in this sucks, this not for me but I've already read like 100 pages I can't stop now so there's a term for it we call sunk cost fallacy like you feel like you have invested your energy your time maybe your money into something so you shouldn't just quit at all
I think people do that with careers as well you know like maybe they've not worked with the same company for 20 years, but they've been doing the same type of job for years. And they get to the point where they're like, I'm really tired of this and I really want to do something else. But then they think, but I paid for all this education. I worked so hard. Like I've moved up the ladder. And it's hard to walk away when you've invested that much time and energy into something.
But another way to think about it is like, if you keep doing it, you'll be wasting more and more time. And you'll be wasting more and more like energy in order to, I mean, instead of putting all this time and energy into something that you might enjoy more or something that you might not even know that you would enjoy, but it's better to try out some new stuff than stick to like the stuff you already know that you hate.
Yeah, if you already know that you hate it. No, life is short.
I know life is short. That's okay.
You need to enjoy it. I mean, obviously there are other factors to take into consideration besides just your own enjoyment. You do have to think about how it will affect your family and, you know, if you have children and things like that. Absolutely, you have to think about that. But at the same time, you know, if you're miserable, it's not worth it.
It's kind of funny where that we started off this episode with like stick-to-itiveness, but we keep trying to convince people to quit.
I know, right? Like, well, how did that happen?
It's not that we want you to quit, but we don't want you to be miserable by trying to stick with something that is not going to do anybody good at all.
Right. And it's like I said in the beginning, it's a balancing act. You know, life is about knowing when to hold on and when to let go. And just because times get a little tough, it doesn't mean you just quit and walk away. Because if you do that, you'll be quitting everything in life because it's just not always easy. And things are worth investing time and energy into. But at the same time, you need the balance of like, okay, I've been doing this job for 10 years and I've been miserable for the last 7. You know, it's clearly not going to change. Maybe it's time to let that one go and move on.
Yeah. So well, a lot of time it has to do with like human being the creature of habit too. I mean, you don't want to like keep changing your life. It's not comfortable. It's not convenient and it kind of gives you stress.
Change is scary.
But maybe it's for the better.
Yes, it can be great. I've experienced a ton of change in my life and I'm always terrified with each one. I was terrified before I came here, right? But in the end, it turned out to be a wonderful thing. So, you know, if you aren't that person and you are scared of change, I would say just go for it. You know, like sometimes we have to take risks in life in order to move forward.
Yeah. Just know that everything is not gonna happen overnight.
No.
Once you decide to quit or once you decide to stick to it, it's not gonna yield like fruits tomorrow morning. So you have to like be a little patient, I guess.
You gotta water your seed, give it some sunshine, wait for it to grow. It takes time. Yeah. And that's why we're here, to grow and to learn, right?
I think you'll be okay.